Welcome to Business Mentorship Keepin' It Real. My name's Trish Tonai, founder and host for the series, where we feature entrepreneurs and enterprise leaders who participate in shareyourstories.online. With me today is Lawrence Armstrong, who is an architect, an artist, a sculptor, and a furniture designer. Lawrence joins us today from San Clemente, California, and I'm really looking forward to having a conversation with him about his inspiration. Welcome.
Thanks, Trish. Glad to be here. Looking forward to it.
You know, I loved your story because one of the things that I found so interesting about your story is what came first, your love for architecture or your love for the arts, where you were sort of doodling and doing all kinds of things, I assume, as a child?
Yeah, I think that, which came first? I think it sort of happened all at the same time. You know, when I was a kid, I was drawing a lot and observing buildings and building things, and and trying to wander around on project sites, you know. So I think it sort of all happened at the same time. I remember when I was in high school, ready to, trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life and where I wanted to go to college. And I took an aptitude test, that was supposed to help you with these things, just to see. And I felt fairly sure, but it came back, I think, number one, be an architect, number two, be a sculptor.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, I think from an early age, I was very fortunate to sort of, know what I wanted to do.
So tell me, what's the style of architecture that you practice in? Because I know that you have more than one office. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about where those offices are located and the style of architecture that you practice and work with and the various different clients that you have.
Yeah, so the name of the firm is Ware Malcolm. It was founded here in Orange County, California in 1972. And I bought the firm from the founders with a partner in 1992. And we specialize in commercial architecture. So our clients are national and local developers, as well as Fortune 500s and regional corporations. And so, we do work that, as you might imagine, that relates to those kind of companies, which is big industrial facilities, office buildings, corporate headquarters, and the like.
Well, that sounds pretty exciting.
We've diversified over the years into some other product types as well, all related to commercial real estate.
So you have a practice in Canada as well as in the United States. So tell us a little bit about some of the cities where you're kind of located, because I'm sure you're doing work internationally, or do you concentrate in North America?
Yes, we do. We're headquartered here in Irvine, California, but we have 24 offices now. Actually, 3 in Canada, Vaughan, Toronto, and actually Ottawa is our newest office. And we're all over the United States in all the major markets. And then we also have a big office in Mexico City. And so most of our work is North America. And we occasionally will do some work in Europe or the Middle East. And we have a longtime client in China who've done a bunch of work. So, but most of it's North America.
Wow, that's very exciting. And when I checked out your website, because of course, as part of the Share Your Stories guest blog, we have a direct link to your website. And when I took a look at your website, I've seen some of the really amazing cities that you featured your artistic work, which is very contemporary. So tell us how you sort of, how one feeds the other, because, you mentioned you didn't know which came first. So if architecture is kind of the thing that you do on a corporate level, what feeds your inspiration for the contemporary side and and artistic venues?
Yeah, so yes, my art is definitely contemporary, modern. It's all very abstract, and it's all based on sort of this concept of layers. And I've been an artist my whole life, but I've only publicly shown my work since I think around 2008 or something like that, 2009. So not that long, and but I've been very fortunate, to be noticed by several curators, and so I've I've exhibited many times in New York and Miami, in different cities around Chicago, different cities up and down the East Coast and Midwest, and then all over Europe. I've got some good friends that run galleries there that have found me, and so I've exhibited a lot in Italy, and in France and in Austria and Spain and some different places. So it's been really fun and exciting. I've exhibited in Toronto as well. So that part of my sort of secondary career has taken off pretty well. It's pretty cool.
So tell us, for those folks who may be watching and our viewing and listening audience, and they may be a budding artist, and so they're listening to some of the wonderful cities in which you've been able to show your work, and they're thinking, wow, how do you even get started to get into a gallery? Like, is there something that I'm supposed to look for? Because the talent's only one aspect. Then you've got the business side of the art. And so how did you end up sort of making the connection in getting into some of these various different galleries around the world? Do you have an agent that represents you, or are you the kind of guy who just kind of picks up the phone and calls people and says, this is who I am, and here's my website, and have a look?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Because this has been a little bit of a head scratcher. The art world is pretty different from other businesses, as I know that you know. And I haven't really ever, done any sort of aggressive marketing, I guess I would say, in a similar way. In my business, we do all the time. We're marketing our company all the time. So what I did was I built a website. I've been on social media very strongly since I began this whole journey.
Right.
And, for the most part, all these curators found me and invited me. And I know it's weird to say that, but that's exactly what's happened and continues to happen. And so when that happens, we sort of you have the advantage, I guess, or I don't know if it's an advantage, but it's the ability, I guess, to check them out. And I haven't exhibited with everyone that's asked me because, the art world is a different kind of world. And so I try to pick my partners as carefully as I can. And, but I've found some really great ones. And so, yeah, I've been in some magazines, some publications, and I think different people have seen me in there. They've seen me on social media. And so then I get invitations, and that's how it's gone so far. So
wow, that sounds like that's very inspirational, because some always folks think wow, that there must be a real there's a secret to that kind of success. And I love the fact that what you've done is you shared the visual images on social. You started a website, and then obviously have a very strong belief in the work that you do. And so you attracted the right kind of people. They found you, which I think is really quite amazing.
Yeah, and I attribute a lot of that to having a vast network. I mean, I have a huge business network, that I've built over many years. And so I think sometimes what happens is you put something up there consistently and, on your networks, on your social media, and, there's a lot of people that see it. In my case, because I have a big network. And so I guess advice I might give is to build your network as big as you can. So when you are posting, a lot of people see it, and then you never know from that
where it will lead.
What'll happen. Yeah. So
that's really amazing.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that you mentioned in your story is you talked a little bit about a mentor. And the mentor that you discussed in your story was your dad. So tell us a little bit about how, because I got the impression when I was reading your story that he not only gave you the encouragement and the confidence to be a wonderful business person, but he also gave you a really strong work ethic and how to approach your own success and where it is that you wanted to go to chart your future. So tell us a little bit about your dad as a mentor.
Yeah. So he was awesome. I really look up to him, and he taught us, that my brothers and I, that, you had to work hard, right? You had to figure out what you wanted to do and work hard. If and if you expected results and you expected success, you had to make it happen. And you had to also learn from your mistakes and your failures, and then keep going and not be defeated by them. So he was great in that way, just sort of balancing us out, and, helping us to understand that you have to earn it.
Right.
You have to earn it. And so,
now, if there was something, you mentioned a failure, learning from your failures. And I think that's something else that, everyone creatively, sometimes we're our worst critic. We look at our work. I'm sure you're no different. You look at your work and think, oh, geez, that's not really what I had envisioned for this particular piece. And so, we tend to be a little too critical, and we may look at that as a failure. So how in your career as an artist have you taken some of the perhaps setbacks or failures that you've had and turned them into opportunities?
It's always about just learning and being open to learning from, whatever experience you have, even a success. Obviously you learn more from a failure. And, so you just be willing to try something new and not get defeated or discouraged. I think that's really important, that you have to have a belief in yourself, and that understanding that this is a journey and you're not perfect and you're going to make mistakes and you're learning. And part of learning is you're not an expert yet. So you have that sort of attitude that's like, okay, I'm not an expert. I have a lot that I don't know and that I need to learn, and I'm going to keep pushing, keep doing my best, keep trying, work hard. This is, I don't know, it might seem cliche, but to me, it's true. It's totally true.
Yeah. Well, as we say, if you walk the walk and talk the talk, you can you feel that authentic energy. And I think that if anything that you are giving our viewing and listening audience today is a really wonderful view of the authentic journey. It's not all, stars and, rainbows and all of that sort of thing. You're going to fall down and scrape your knees every once in a while, but you have to have the conviction to get up and do it again. So in terms of inspiration, because architecture and art is a different kind of inspiration, and I know perhaps as chairman of your company, perhaps are not doing as much hands-on architecture anymore, but you're probably managing the business a little more than sitting at the board, so to speak. But tell us a little bit about what inspires you. What inspires your work?
Yeah. Well, on the first point, yes. I was CEO for 28 years, and I did run the company and build the company. And I'm finding out that chairman is just an awesome job, because I'm not really anymore. I've appointed a new CEO and a new president, and they're doing amazing. And their team behind them, they're just doing a great job. And I'm there to advise and have more time to do things like this, which is great. So, but what inspires, the architecture and the art is super intertwined, as well as just business, because I think that there's an aspect that I think this is important, that if you want to be a successful artist, or you want to be successful at anything you're doing, business is part of it. It's a big piece of it. Mm-hmm. And, so I think that I say this a lot, but I believe it. It's, being an artist helped me be a better CEO. Being a CEO helped me be a better artist. And I say the same thing about architecture. Being an architect, being an artist helped me be a more creative architect. And, being an architect helped me, I think, just have a more structured approach a little bit to not the art itself, because the art's very sort of freewheeling. And I think, it's not the way inspiration and ideas come to me is pretty different from how I approach architecture. But, but the structure of trying to, be disciplined about how I approach the business of art, I guess is what I would say.
Yeah.
So all those three kind of aspects, being a business person, being an architect, being an artist, they all intertwine, and each piece helps me be better at the other one.
So one of the things that we asked everybody to do in the guest blog is to share 3 words of advice. So I'd like to give you an opportunity to tell us a little bit about your 3 words, which are work, risk, and love. Those are 3 very different words. So tell us how they're important to you.
Those 3 sum up kind of how I try to approach everything I do. And I'll go back to the first work, which we already talked about,
right,
which is whatever you're going to do in your life, you have to work hard.
Yeah.
You just have to. You have to work, and you've got to stay focused, and you've got to stay on top of it and keep pushing forward if you want to be successful. And so I think that's, again, maybe cliche, but very important. Risk is also very important. You have to be willing to take some risks in your life. If you believe in something and you believe in yourself and you're excited and passionate about something, you got to take some risks.
Yeah.
You got to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
I've lived my whole life sort of being a quiet artist, but I was out there on the architecture and business side. And so when I first put my work out there, I was not a kid anymore, and I'd never done it. But that first exhibit or 2 is kind of scary.
Nerve-wracking for sure.
And then you get over it,
Yeah.
which is awesome. But if you don't take that risk, you're not going to get there. And, I've taken a few, risks in my career that, definitely paid off.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you got to back it up. And, not always, they don't always. You take risks sometimes in your business that, didn't work out so well, but then you learn. So I think that if you don't take a risk, you don't put yourself out there, you are sort of giving up a chance to move forward, and learn and do better. So that's important. And then, the love part is sort of a 2-piece of the thing. It's sort of like you have to love what you do. And, because if you love what you're doing, it's not so much of a job. It's
true.
It's a fulfilling life, right? And so find what you love to do and do that, and then throw all these other pieces in, because then it's much more fulfilling, much more fun, and exciting. And then of course, the other piece about love is surrounding yourself with people that love you and that you love, right? And that's super important too. You have to have support. Everyone needs help. Everyone needs support. So anyway, those are why those 3 words are important to me.
Well, I want to thank you very much for spending some time with me today, Lawrence, because, I think you've really given our viewing and listening audience an opportunity to sort of see that, there's some really great components that when you build on, your success and failures will take you to fulfilling your dreams. And clearly you live a very full life. And I certainly hope at some point in time that you'll share with me the next art installation that you may have that's in North America. And who knows, when the borders open, maybe we can take an opportunity to see your work live, because it's really quite amazing. And we'll certainly share some of the photos that you have and your website link as part of this interview so that people can connect with you.
Great. Well, I really appreciate the time, and great talking to you. And I look forward to more conversations in the future. And hopefully we can see each other at
an in-person meeting, right?
At an exhibit. Exactly. Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
To our viewing and listening audience, I'd like to thank you for joining me today in this edition of Business Mentorship Keeping It Real, where we introduced you to the person behind the logo and hopefully provided you with a little inspiration. And if you have a story that you like to share with us, please feel free to visit our website at shareyourstories.online. Thank you.